Hi guys, how you doing? So I don't know about you, but when I'm looking for a case, I really struggle. You know, I want something that looks nice, that's got good airflow, it's practical, you know, it supports the 280mm AIO in the top if possible, you know, 360 in the front, a couple of hard drives, and yeah, you know, just I've really struggled over the years. Fractal Design have done a really good job, and I've really gone over to them most of the time. You know, most recently I've been using the Fractal Design Define 7 Compact. Absolutely love it. It doesn't tick all my boxes, to be perfectly honest, but it is a stylish case, great build quality and all of that, and it comes in about £90. Now, when they released the 4000D from Corsair, I thought, oh, I like that. It looks really nice in white, even better. And it supports the 280mm AIO in the top. Now that really piqued my interest. Now it retails for about £80. I picked it up for 75, and from what I've seen, I'm really impressed. Now it isn't perfect, but no case is going to be perfect unless you're designing it yourself. But yeah, I think it's going to do the job for me really. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit more detailed look around the case. We're going to do a build, and then I'm going to rate it in 6 different categories as I usually do, and then you can see, is it a case that you want to buy? So looking at the side of the case, I think it looks really good. The tempered glass panel with the white border is definitely a nice touch. They don't always do that with Corsair cases, so it's a good thing. It's kept in place by these captive fun screws. Just unscrew those and then pull away. Be careful because it's kept in place by these little ledges. It's not a great system. And what isn't a great system as well is the way that they attach the side panel. It's got these like hooks. And then over here, there's little bits that stick out. I put an image up on the screen of those. So looking inside the case, we've got this triangle design here for the PSU shroud. It's at the front, the top and the rear. I definitely like it. From a motherboard support, you know, obviously you go up to E80X and the standoffs are all in place for ATX boards, which is really good. So down the bottom we've got cutouts for our, you know, HD audio, USB cables and the like. They're massive, you're not going to have problems fitting anything down there. We've got this cable management bar as well. That's where obviously a 24 pin's going to go and any SATA cables. Plenty of room there. So the case comes with a couple of 120 fans installed. They're okay. I'm going to be swapping those out for Arctic P12s, but obviously you can do what you want. From a support point of view, 120s in the back. You can get 3 120s in the front or 2 140s, and in the top you can get 2 120s or 2 140s. So from an AIO point of view in the front, you can go up to 360, so 120, 240, 280, 360. So, and in the top there, you can go up to a 280mm, and that's what we're going to be doing with the Trident Z63. And if you're going to go for an air cooler, then you can go up to 170mm, which is really good. GPU support is pretty decent as well, and you can go up to 133. I'm not sure if that's going to be reduced with a front AIO, but obviously I'll get that information to you by way of a screen prompt. But yeah, inside it looks really nice. Build quality is really good. Yeah, pretty decent. So now looking at the back of the case, obviously we've got the 120 fan there. It's got sliders, so if you need to move it up and down, you can. That's really good. The PCI covers are grey. I think it complements the white case really nice. Obviously you've got a vertical GPU mount option here. However, most cards are going to be over 2 slots, and even if it is 2 slot, you're going to be right up against the glass. It's not going to be able to breathe properly. There are solutions out where it takes full use of these slots. It's not ideal because obviously you kind of lose a little bit of access to PCI slots. It just depends on how you're using your system. But I just think the case isn't really big enough for vertical GPU mounts unless you're going to custom loop. But obviously that's another story. And then here, obviously this is where the PSU goes in. I'm not really a fan of cases that kind of just have the cutout here and it doesn't have the bracket to slide it in, because obviously you've got to go in via the back. It's just not my favourite. They've obviously cut costs doing it this way, which I don't kind of have a problem with, but it's just not my favourite method. And then obviously down the bottom we have a little filter. So now the rear of the case is just a flat panel, and there's no dampening material on it. It comes off in the same way as the front. And there you go, just a sheet of metal. Same mounting mechanism. So here obviously you have a hole, so if you need to change the AIO or obviously your cooler backplate, then you've got access to that. You don't need to take the motherboard out, which is good. You can fit in a couple of SSDs here. Down the bottom you can put hard drives, you can put SSDs in there, whatever you need to. There are options to move this along, but there isn't any slider rails from what I can see. It just seems to be there's a couple of options in position, so it's not ideal, but obviously you can remove that if you need to. Cable management here, it's very limited as to kind of what it can do. It's not the widest. It's not really going to take your 24 pin. No, it's definitely not going to take your 24 pin. But obviously just for your front panel and any other little cables, it's going to do a good job to keep those in. You've got plenty of tie down points. So obviously your APX is going to go up there, and fans. So there's plenty of room, plenty of depth. I can get 2 fingers in there, no problem. So most cables will be absolutely fine. Obviously this is where your power supply comes in. You've got a little bit of room here, so if you have a 360 radiator, that's just going to drop down and populate this area. I don't think you need to move this at all. I think it'll be absolutely fine. And that's really about it. So with the 4000 series, there are 3 versions available. There's this one, which is the airflow. It's obviously got a machined front panel here. If you go for the regular D, then it's a straight panel. You can get air in the edges, so it's not a problem. And then there's the X, which is the tempered glass version with the RGB fans behind. This definitely drew my attention. The look of it and the fact it's airflow definitely is a winner. In order to remove this, you just literally pop the sides off. And it's held in place by these little nubbins, or whatever you want to call them. And then that's the bottom, because there's a little lip there. And that's literally just goes back on like that. And here with the air filter, just comes out. It's held in place by a couple of little notches there. Magnets there and there, and it just sits in. If you want to clean it, just run it under a tap, dry it off, and lovely jubbly, back to new. And then we have an air filter at the top. It's magnetised, as you'd expect. I like the detailing there. Obviously we've got our rails here, so we can move our AIOs along and fans and all that. Down the bottom we have our power button, a 3.0, 3.1 or Type-C, our audio, headphones, and our reset. Now, why they haven't added more 3.0s, I have no idea. There's plenty of room. They could have done it. Is it to keep the costs down? I don't really know, but yeah, come on Corsair, you could have done better there. Guys, what we're going to do now is build this baby. Guys, so it's been a couple of days now since I've done the build, and I'm not sure I like it. I love it. It's got its problems, it's not perfect, but obviously at £80, are you really expecting it to be perfect? No. What we're going to do now is going to take a look at the case in 6 different categories, and you can see if it's a case that you want to buy. So overall, the build quality of the case is pretty good. Now the frame is solid, the tempered glass panel is really nice, the front metal panel is really good. However, what lets it down is the plastic trim at the front and the feet. They're not great. They could have spent a couple of quid at most sorting it out, making it look a bit more premium. But overall, it's really good, so I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. So the design of the case is fantastic. It looks really good in white, brilliant. The machine front panel, the tempered glass, and obviously all the little kind of the triangle detailing just make it kind of look really premium. A couple of the things I didn't like about it was the hard drive caddy inside. It's not on rails. There's only a couple of points which you can stick it in. Also, obviously the kind of the mechanism which they've done for mounting the doors. It works. It's functional, but it's not my kind of cup of tea really. But like I said, it does the job, so you can't really complain too much. Otherwise, I think they've done a really good job, so I'm going to give it 4 stars. So the radiator support in the case is very good. On paper, fantastic. 360 in the front, 280 in the top, 170 air cooler. But the reality is different. So if you want a 280 in the top, it is conditional. Now, my Trident Z Neo just didn't fit. It's just too tall. Now, from what I can see, Corsair LPX Ram is going to fit. I haven't got any in stock, but I've got some on the way. So if you're kind of watching this in the future, check the description. I'll let you know how that goes on. But yeah, I was going to give it 4.5 stars, but unfortunately, because of that little hiccup, 4 stars. So the GPU support in this case is fantastic. So if you're going to go with a front AIO, you can have about 330, maybe a couple of mils more. Otherwise, it's 360. You've got the vertical GPU mount, obviously, which is conditional on you having a 2-slot card or doing a custom loop. Really good, 4.5 stars. So the cable management is all right. It's not the best. It's got the holes in all in the right places. I did have a little struggle with the 24 pin, just getting it in there. I had to kind of like bend it and get it in. If you've got extensions, and you'll find it a little bit easier. The little kind of channel they got at the back did basically what I thought it was going to do, and that's not a lot. You're not going to get your 24 pin in there. You're not really going to get any other cables other than the front panel, and I think I've got the AIO SATA cable. It's all right. At the back, you've got plenty of room for obviously your cable management. With the power supply and the hard drive caddy, I had to shove it along a little bit. Not ideal, but obviously that kind of gave me a little bit more room. So if you obviously want to keep it in its original position, you might have to kind of be a bit creative with the cables, but it was pretty decent, so I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. So when it comes to value, I think this case is 5 stars. I paid £75. You can get it most places for 80. If you go for the flat panel version, then you might spend a little bit less. I think I saw it for about £70. And obviously, if you want to kind of flex big time, then you can go for the RGB version for about 110. For this money, the quality, the build, the design, brilliant. Yeah, it's not perfect. No case is. I've obviously come from the Define 7 Compact, and yeah, I'm pretty happy. That's a better made case, but this one, yeah, I really like it. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.